Hi, I'm Seth, and I'm here today with Jordan Savitz from Offit Kurman. Jordan, thanks for being here today.
Sure.
Why don't you give us a little introduction, tell us who you are and what you do with Offit.
Yeah, sure. So I am a principal attorney at law firm Offit Kurman. I practice business transactions and cannabis law. So what I do is I help individuals and business owners in all stages of the life cycle of the business, from day one choice of entity all the way through mergers and acquisition, and succession planning and everything that comes in between, whether it's contract drafting, review, operating agreements, anything in the life cycle of the business is something that I can help. And so let me flip that question, Seth. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know that you're with a payroll provider, SHS Services, and one of the questions I'm getting actually a lot is, what the role of the payroll provider is in the PPP loan forgiveness, and if it's too late to switch. So if you don't mind, if you can address that question as well for us, please.
Sure, absolutely. So yeah, maybe Seth Opel with the Vice President of Business Development for SHS Services. Like Jordan said, we're a payroll provider headquartered in Rockville. And we really work with all kinds of small businesses, as small as 1 or 2 employees up to 100 or so. And we work with businesses who are in many different industries, anything from government contractors to nonprofits to professional services, you name it. In reference to your question about the PPP loan forgiveness, it's really important actually to have a payroll provider that knows what they're doing with the loans, because it's something that's constantly evolving, and we're getting different guidance from the SBA and from the banks on a pretty regular basis. So, with our clients who applied for the loans originally, we provided a lot of service and support for them in terms of getting the reports that they need and all the data that they needed to submit the application to begin with. So we're very familiar with that process. And now on the back end for the forgiveness, we're kind of going through that same process. So, if you have a loan, you're worried about, how do we get this forgiveness taken care of? One thing to know is that, you're in a good position now. You don't need to rush. There's plenty of time before you need to submit the application. It's hard to do that, but you do have plenty of time. The other thing, if you have a service and you're looking at maybe switching, it's certainly possible to switch in the middle of this time. One of the things that we do is actually go back and pull all the data on a per pay period basis, going back to January 1 or even back into 2019 if necessary, to make sure that you still retain all of that data from your prior system. So this really just enables you to still have access to all that data when you do finally apply for the forgiveness, so that you can maximize that forgiveness amount.
And can you pull that data from other companies, from QuickBooks, from anywhere?
We can, yeah. Typically, if you have online access to your account, whether it's QuickBooks or one of the other providers out there, all we need to do is go into the reports function in that system, and all that information usually is there, and we can help pull that for you. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. One of the questions that we see from clients actually a lot more now than we have in the past is, small business owners, they start up a business, things are going well. They don't really think too far down the road sometimes. And now they're starting to think about, things like succession planning and operating agreements. If you're a small business owner in that position, what are kind of the first steps to consider when you want to look at, either setting up a succession plan for the first time or, reviewing what you have in place to make sure that you're prepared?
Yeah, so when all this started, and still today, our estate planning department is slammed. Everyone's looking to update their wills, set up a trust, whatever the case may be. And succession planning is the same thing, but for your business. So you need to figure out, what this looks like, what your exit plan is, and whether or not your business is currently set up and ready for that today. There's things that you should be doing today to prepare for whatever that is in the future. And there's a variety of ways that your succession can be set up in a business. So the first thing that I need to do is I want to sit down, talk to the business owner, and understand what it is that they do. What is their business? The second thing I need is I need to understand what are their goals, short-term goals, long-term goals. Are they looking to exit the business by sale? And is that in the next year? Is it in 5 years? Is it in 20 years? Or is this the kind of business that they want to leave to a family member or possibly a key employee? Every business is different, so we need to sit down and understand those. The next thing I want to do is I need to understand whether or not they already have an operating agreement. If so, let's take a look at that. Maybe it's something we can simply revise. On the other hand, maybe it's something that they pulled from the internet, prepared themselves, or that doesn't really reflect the way the business currently operates, and kind of need to amend and restate it. Basically, let's start over. Let's do it right now, and let's start over. So finally, we'll put together a plan that incorporates all of this. Perhaps it's an operating agreement, and perhaps it's an employment agreement or some other succession planning. That really depends on what the client's goals are. So it starts with a conversation, and those conversations are happening a lot now as people are realizing they need to have a plan in place, not just for their own life, but for the life of the business.
Yeah, very true. Well, that's great information. Thank you, Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that we could do this. I hope it was helpful for you, your clients, and anyone watching.
Absolutely. All right. Take care. Thanks.
See ya.